YOLO. Today I wanted to talk about why I feel college is a scam for most, but not all people, and share my own college experience. But also, quick heads up, sorry about the sound in the background. I'm sleeping on the side of the highway tonight, so you'll just be hearing the trucks and cars going back and forth the whole time. But now that I got that out of the way, let's get into it. I'm going to start off with a hot take. I believe that the college system we have in America is economic grooming. And here's why. For everybody's childhood, they're told they have to study hard, get good grades, get a good GPA in high school. That way they can get into a good college, get a good degree, and get a good job. But it's not a good system. Reason being, you're told from the time you're a little kid, this is the way you have to go, this is the plan, the route, this is what you do, the next step in life, and you're not told any other alternatives. You're just kind of shuttled along until you get at the administration's office, and they're like, all right, it'll be thousands of dollars per semester, and since you've been a child your entire life, you have no money, so go ahead and get into lifelong crippling debt so you can get a piece of paper. That is how I view it. The second reason I think the modern college system is a scam is because information doubles every 18 months. And that was before the advent of AI. Now I can only assume it's faster. But you spend, say, 4 years getting a standard degree in college. Well, after that 4 years, information has already doubled multiple times over, putting you behind the workforce. You've learned outdated information on old software and technology. Congratulations, you went into debt so that you could start behind the ball. Now, I know I'm sounding very negative, and that's because I am, so this entire video is going to be tinted with my own bias. But I will give credit where credit is due. I do believe the college system can work and is necessary for certain occupations, such as doctors, lawyers, scientists, and computer engineers. If you're not going for one of those highly specialized fields, my personal opinion is you should not be going to college at all. You have to look at college the same way you do looking at your stocks. Figuring out your ROI. ROI stands for return on investment. Is the amount of time and the amount of money you're pouring into this college to get a degree going to land you a job, guaranteed land you a job that will be more valuable than the time and money you sent into the college? Now, the money is one thing. That's easy to measure. But the harder thing to measure is time. How many lost opportunities did you have to pass up on? Chances that you could have started a business or even gotten employment through, say, an internship or apprenticeship, learning a skill or a trade. How many of those opportunities did you have to give up so that you could go to college? That is a much harder thing to calculate, and you can't really define it too easily. But it's the opportunity cost, which I think is highest for college. But we can only measure the money cost. Now that we are looking at college as more of an investment for ourselves to get the degree, we can start trying to figure out if the ROI will be positive for us. Now, we might be going into a field that doesn't guarantee work, but has higher chances for better pay, home life, benefits, all that good stuff. So one thing we can understand, which is a very simple thing in economics, is supply and demand. Is the demand for college graduates higher than the supply of college graduates? If so, even if you're getting a cruddy degree, it's going to be worth it for you to invest in it. If not, this is a bad investment. Now, more people are going to college than ever before. More people are graduating college than ever before. More people are struggling to find employment after college than ever before. This indicates a negative ROI, a bad return on our investment, due to the fact that there are too many college graduates. However, there is something else that's giving a positive ROI right now, which is the trades. Plumbers, electricians, carpenters. Think the grittier blue-collar jobs. Many of those guys, after their apprenticeship, are able to haul in low six figures within their first 2 years. they have minimal, if any, student loans because trade schools are usually only a couple thousand for the entire thing. And a lot of the time, you're going to get hired right out of school. While you're still there, they're sending job recruiters because there's such high demand for blue-collar work that is too difficult for AI to take over at the current time. It's for these reasons, and the fact that it seems to be the default answer, and no one is given any other real options, that I feel that college is a scam, or modern college is a scam for the average person. Now, I personally went to college for 5 years and ended up with only an associate's degree. The reason being is while I was in high school out in California, I know, California, yeah, I didn't choose to live there. It's just how it was. But anyway, while I was in high school out in California, I took my gen eds. I got basically the first 2 years done in California, so all the boring, dumb classes which make no sense to learn, but everyone's forced to learn them before they can actually go for the classes that would be part of their job. Another flaw in the system, in my opinion. Then we moved all the way out to Michigan. And of those 2 years worth of classes I took in high school, one class carried over. So I had to restart my gen eds. So I then spent the next 2 years doing all the basic same classes over again. But I had to do them in Michigan now, so it didn't transfer the credits over. So I spent 4 years doing the first 2 years of work over. Now, I was in a local community college, thank the Lord. That way I could afford it because my parents weren't paying for it, and I did not want to get student loans. I absolutely refused because I thought it would be the dumbest thing to put myself in lifelong debt when college was never even really my dream, but it was kind of what I had to do. At the end of those 2 years, I come to find out that one of the classes I needed to transfer to the big state university at the end of it and get my associates was only available during the fall semester. None of the guidance counselors or anybody told me that, so I picked my classes in the fall semester. Then when winter semester came around, I went to pick the last few classes I needed so I could transfer over and everything. It was not available. It was also not available during the summer semester. So I completed that winter's classes. Next fall rolls around, and I literally only needed one class. So I took that class, and then I transferred over to the big state university halfway through the year. I got one taste of how university works, and I absolutely hated it. So I do about half a semester at the big state university. And I say half a semester because I got sick during midterms, and I had sent an email to the professors letting them know, and they said not to come to class if I was sick. I wait, I get better. I then go to class and ask to take a makeup test because the midterm was worth a third of the grade. And they're like, no, if you weren't here for the midterm, you don't get to make a makeup test. And I explained them that I was sick, and they're like, I know, but blah, 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 blah. And I was already pissed with the whole system at that point, but that's when I really just gave up because I was like, man, the system's rigged. I've had to go to school for 5 years now, and all I've got to show for it is an associate's. This big state university doesn't care about me at all. And on top of that, my parents were then, telling me it was time for me to leave the nest and go live on campus. And I was looking at campus prices, and I'm like, there's no way I'm going to afford that. So, once that semester ended, I just dropped out of college altogether. And I've never looked back at it since. College can work for some people, but for people like me who are not academics, who are more blue-collar type people, it's definitely not the right course of action. That kind of explains my bias against college. And for some of the reasons I've already stated, I think college is a bad idea. But what can we do? Are we just doomed to push the next generation into the same trap that we were? Rinse and repeat? I don't think so. What I really think we need to do is we need to start up classes in high school teaching alternatives to children. Well, I say children, but to young adults, basically. Showing them that there's a different way, that they don't have to be forced into the college system and machine. Sorry for the repetitive gameplay. I have just a little bit more to go over here, though. I think what we need to do is offer an alternative and have maybe not a job fair, but like an intern program for different blue-collar jobs at the high schools. That way, even if the kids choose to still go to college, they're given the opportunity to have a different career path. And they're given maybe a class or two, like the old home economics or shop classes, taught a thing or two about it and shown that, hey, you don't have to go through the same college setup that everyone else does. You have another option. So you've got blue-collar work, or maybe even becoming an entrepreneur. One last thing that I never cared for is that the college system has a hold of the loans, basically. You're only allowed to get a loan to go to college. You're not allowed to get a business loan or maybe get a home loan and start house flipping. Obviously, you would need somebody like a co-signer with responsible credit at the age of 18. But they have you locked in to where your only option for getting a loan to try something in life is to go to college. Let me know in the comments below what your viewpoints on college are. Did it used to be a good thing? Is it still a good thing? Is it a scam? Is AI going to take all the jobs so it's not even worth going anyway? Let me know and I'll read through your comments. And also like the video if you watched it this far. I know it was a bit more of a rambly episode, so I'd appreciate it and it would help the algorithm. And as always, I'll catch you on the flip side.